silver every week or every other week. And I'm bringing this because I've been trying to, or I have been teaching my children and getting my children involved probably for the last 10 years or so, and I think it's really benefited them and then just us all together as a whole. But anyways, I just want people thinking about this, especially because I heard Andy Schectman spoke and talked. If you don't know anything about him, you should look him up. He owns a gold company and that kind of stuff. He's a great guy, and he's very smart about finances and economy and real money kind of stuff, your metals and that kind of deal. But he has a rule where if for all his employees, they have to be buying silver and or gold at least every 2 weeks, period. That's it. And I'm like, that sounds crazy, but then I got thinking about it. I'm like, well, that's what I've been doing for a long time, and that's what I try to teach my children. And that's, not exactly that, but along those lines. Because if you're not purchasing stuff like that, if you're not really investing or buying real assets, time goes by and you have nothing. Seriously, you will have nothing but digits and the invisible stuff that they say has wealth, which you don't own, you have no ownership, no control over. Someone else is at the realm of that, at the helm of that, at the controls of that, says you can or can't do this, locks you out or whatever. And you know how it is, how it has been. It's going to get a lot worse, and it's already becoming like that as banks shut down and it becomes more and more tyranny and more control. But, so, I just going back to this. So I think his whole deal of that is not just to instill in the his employees, but I think this keeps everyone involved and to be sharp on their knowledge of assets, on the metals, if they're working for him, his company, and just have that wherewithal, have that guidance or have that knowledge that's doesn't come from books, doesn't come from someone telling you. You have to learn it, you have to work at it, you have to do it. And it also helps to preserve the employees and their families' wealth and financial security, period. That's what it is. Because you're buying real assets, you're buying stuff of real use versus this 401k or this IRA or these other made up things that they put together and they say these are great investments, these bonds, these stocks, whatever. It's all invisible. It doesn't really have any use case for it at all. Yes, you can earn money, you can become rich, or you can become poor at the same amount of time that you can become rich. A lot faster, actually, and a lot easier to become poor as they take more and more of that away from you. But anyways, I just wanted to get this out there and get people thinking. How am I going to tell my children? What am I going to do? I'm making this money, XYZ, I'm making a lot of money, I'm making a little bit of money. What can I do? How can I try to get ahead? How can I try to rise above? How can I try to combat this? Or how can I try to alleviate this? Or how can I try to, stand my ground or grow or be secure? Well, that's how. Start doing it. Because let's just say 5 years time period goes by, 5 years. And you saw this video and 5 years later you didn't do anything, you did nothing towards this at all, you're going to be in the same situation you are right now, 5 years from now. But if you're like, well, you know what, I'll try this. I'll buy 1 ounce of silver every 2 weeks. That gets me 26 ounces a year. So I'll get 26 ounces a year, and then the next year I'll get 26 ounces, and then pretty soon I'll have to have 52 ounces after those 2 years. Well, that's a roll. It's a roll and a half. Or if you're like, I'm gonna really stick with this, I'm gonna do 1 ounce a week because it's $25 roughly, maybe $30 a week, and I buy coffee or I buy this or I go to the bar or I go to the casino. Or instead of doing that kind of stuff as much, I'm gonna buy 1 ounce of silver a week. Well, after that year, you have 52 ounces. Then after 2 years, you have 104 ounces, and it just adds up. It adds up fast. And if you're not doing it, after 5 years you have nothing. But if you started doing it, after 5 years you have a good starting point. So after 5 years of doing that, you could have hundreds of ounces. So I just want to get people thinking. Now, you can hear this. So I'll just use 2. So this right here, if you can hear that, that's the sound of 2 ounces of silver. 2 ounces of silver clanking together. There's nothing that sounds like this. That's as sweet as this. This has its own sound, it has its own weight, it has its own feel. These are real. This is 2 ounces of silver. Let's say it's $30 a piece. It would cost somewhere around there. That's $60. Would you rather have this? This real. This has real weight to it, real use to it. It's real. Or $60 in digits in your bank account, or whatever you want to call it, or $60 in paper. You know, 2 or 3 $20 bills. I would choose this every single day because it has real use case. I mean, you cannot just print this. You cannot just duplicate it. You can't just make this up. It is what it is. It's limited. It's here, and it has real use case. They can print digits. They can make stuff happen overnight to see fit, as they do with the paper. The paper market out there for silver and the paper market out there for gold. I've talked about this, but it's horrendous. For every 1 ounce of real silver out there, there are thousands of contracts, hundreds of contracts for every single 1 ounce. So everyone who thinks they have some sort of say in silver, ownership in silver, and they just have the paper, just the stock of it, they don't own a thing. They own nothing. If you start buying it for real, you have it. And after a year, you could have 26 of these or 52 of these, depending on how you're doing it. And after 10 years, just imagine. 10 years flies by, and you notice as well as I do, it flies by so fast. After 10 years, look at the wealth and the financial security you would have accumulated and made up for yourself and your family. And you could spread that knowledge and get other people involved. But that's all I had to say about this real short video. Sorry. Thanks for watching. As always, stay vigilant yourself.